The Dads That Game radio podcast is brought to you by Video Games Monthly. Video Games Monthly is a monthly subscription service that delivers retro video games to gamers who own classic gaming systems from the 1980s through 2000s. And the best part is, you keep the games. Check us out at videogamesmonthly.com.
Live from his wife's basement, still gaming into their elder years. This is the Dads That Game radio podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Michael Wolf and William Small.
Welcome, everybody, to the Dads That Game radio podcast. We're live here in a hall. I don't know why we're in a hall, but it sounds like we're in a hall. And I'm going to turn this off because it's actually getting kind of annoying. There we go. Hi, everybody. The funny thing is, a lot of times is when I record silly sounds and things like that, Will can't hear it at all.
Yeah, I don't even know what's going on.
He has no idea. Yeah, because he phones in, and then I'm the one that gets to play with all the soundboards and ridiculous things sometimes. So, like, for a good majority of our shows, I would say we actually had I had a soundboard and just buttons I would push randomly. Will had no idea. So
no idea.
Yeah.
I play like the deadpan guy because I don't know what's happening.
It was it was pretty comical sometimes on my end. But I don't know if it was comical at all, like, honestly, because I'm horrible at comedy. Like, this is not a comedy show. Even though people tell us that we're kind of funny sometimes. So I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Well, let's not get confused with kind of funny, though.
Right. Yeah, because I don't need a lawsuit on my hands.
Yeah, we don't have that kind of humor or money or ability, apparently. But
and we don't cuss like they do either. So there you go. No. Welcome to the show. It is show 120. We did it. Made it to 120 episodes of this show. Wow. When are we going to start season 2? That's the ultimate question.
I don't know. I don't know. I
don't even know. Like, because over the time of the show, we've switched, promos. I used to do the promos, I had a guy record a voice, and then I used to add music to it, and we Run the Jewels for a while, and then we have our new promo now, which I love, but I don't know. Like, I don't know at what point a time, because like I see a lot of podcasts, like shout out to the nerds who get laid sometimes. They've actually been fans of ours, and we've been fans of theirs for a long time. But they're like in their 4th season. Yeah. So I don't know exactly, at what point you have to, switch over to seasons. I don't know. Or like, I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. We could probably just call it now and just be like, we had a good season, 120 shows, and then next week will be season 2, episode 1. I don't know if we want to do something like that. Maybe.
Might be confusing, but
maybe. Well, I'll put up a poll sometime this week on Twitter, and you guys can vote on it. We'll see. Yeah, right. I don't even know if I'll do that. Probably not. So I don't know if you noticed. I say I'm going to do a lot of things, but I never have the time anymore. Just work is killing me. As you can probably tell by my voice. Yeah. So, but this is show 120. So welcome. Please check out our website. It is www.noobsandpros.com. We are part of their whole gaming collective. We do the podcast. They do the gaming. Ooh, that should be the slogan. Yeah. Thank you for sticking around Thursday nights on the Podcast Radio Network. We have not been on the Podcast Radio Network for the last couple weeks. Because of flooding and the hurricane. Yeah. Uh-huh. So, our wonderful host, John, I wish him well. He's actually sick right now, so I wish him good health and get better soon, buddy. But please always support the Podcast Radio Network. You can download their apps. It's the Crikey app, Krykey, and the TuneIn app. On the TuneIn app, just search for the Podcast Radio Network on Crikey. Just tune it to 102.6. Most of the time, you can find our shows there on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. Otherwise, you can download us from iTunes and Podbean and Stitcher and iHeartRadio, and there's a million different ways you can find our show. Twitter, mostly. Facebook. Tumblr. Yeah, we're on Tumblr. Yeah. Interesting. We're everywhere, pretty much. So check us out. Mostly you can just listen to, I mean, if you just get on our webpage there, noobsandpros.com, it'll take you to the links, any links you want. I was actually thinking about doing, this week videos. So recording myself talking about the events of what you can hear on the podcast. We'll see how that turns out. Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds fancy.
I don't know. I really don't. I don't have a face for camera. So
Are you sure?
I don't know. My wife thinks I'm handsome sometimes, I would think. I'm looking at her right now. She's actually listening in. She's just smiling because she wasn't paying attention. So, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We'll try it out, and then if I get a bunch of go back under your bridge, you troll. I guess I'll stop doing it. So,
well, you won't know unless you try, I guess.
Thanks for that vote of confidence there. So that's true. I really don't have a game of the week this week.
No?
I mean, I guess we could talk about games we've been playing, but I mean, you've been playing Spider-Man. You finally got into it. You like it. You love it.
I do.
I knew this was going to happen with me, but I've been playing nothing but Destiny. So yeah.
I'm already I like it, and I think it's good, but it's exactly what I thought was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I got to the end game, and I'm there now, and I think I'm like I'm over 5:15 or something like that.
Sure.
But it's just, I don't know.
I hit 5:30 today. I think the biggest part of it missing though for me was the bounties in the prior games, because with the bounties, at least I'm not bored anymore. Even if I can't even if I can't get into end game, groups and stuff like that until obviously you hit probably 5:45, 5:50, roughly around that area. I'm still having fun doing bounties, and I mean they just introduced a new PvP mode today. So I haven't had a chance to check it out. I'll probably play it tonight. But I mean, I really like the Gambit PvP. It's just a lot of fun for me.
I keep trying to understand because I haven't even gone into it.
Yeah.
But I want to because I want to get the Cade's. I want to get the Cade's gun.
Right. It's a part of it you actually have to do in the Gambit.
And apparently they made it much simpler than originally. Because now you can just kill enemies as well as
Guardians. Yeah, you get more points for Guardians than you do for the enemies, but at least they try to make it even. Yeah. So
well, I mean, but regardless, what else I've been playing, and I can't say enough good things about it. Already got rave reviews, but it's been out on Switch for a couple weeks. But Iconoclast.
Oh, sure.
It's another one of the kind of side-scrolly Metroidvania type of games. But this game, when it came out on PS4 a while back, it got rave reviews, and people were saying that it's amazing. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get it because it's going to come out on Switch at some point.
Sure. And
it finally did, and I managed to get it, and it's so good. The story's cool. It's pretty, and it's just a real lot of fun for the type of game that it is. I just love it.
Nice.
So I'm kind of mixing between Spider-Man and this.
I did sign up for the Nintendo online service.
I did the 7-day free trial and then canceled it right after that. So.
I signed up for the year just because it was $20. But I do like playing the retro games. I've been playing a lot of Donkey Kong and things like that. So I love Dr. Mario and things like that too. So it's kind of been fun to play that retroly.
Don't you have the retro?
I have I have. I know it's kind of counterproductive, and that was been my argument forever is that I have the retro consoles, and we actually have a story about another retro console in the works today that I was actually kind of excited to hear about. We'll get into it. But the only thing with the other retro consoles is not all the games that are on the Nintendo Online are on the retro consoles. There's a couple repeating, like Donkey Kong and obviously Super Mario Brothers, and Super Mario Brothers World and things like that. But a lot of them got left off. So the Yoshi game that was kind of like Dr. Mario is on there. There's a ton of other ones that kind of didn't make it over that retro thing. And I kind of wondered that too, because there are a lot of repeats, but then again, there's a lot of games that I thought were really cool, and obviously there's more games coming that they're not putting on their classic consoles. So, they're trying to be smart about it. So
yeah,
I can't blame them. I mean, because I'm a sucker for anything retro. I mean, obviously, I got my retro arcade coming very soon, even though they did delay it, unfortunately. So I think the arcade went up, and they even sent us a letter, a very nice letter, and they basically said, we had no idea these were going to be as popular as we thought they were going to be, because actually, if you guys were checking out anything online today, Walmart is now selling them again. So they were out of stock forever. So I guess they just underestimated the demand of these machines. So they were out of stock forever, but then Walmart actually picked them up again. They're selling them again today, $2.99. But they had to delay the actual release date to October 16th now. So sucks for me because I'll have to wait another roughly 3 weeks again, but not the end of the world. So
yeah, it's not terrible.
Not terrible. Yeah. I mean, it would be different like if they're like coming in 2019. I'd be like, son of a bitch. So yeah, not horrible. So, but we do have a lot of stories to bring you today. I talked about some Sony news, some Cyberpunk 2077 news, which is really amazing. Diablo news. We're going to talk about Telltale today. Very sad news with them. Yeah, I did not see that one coming. I really didn't. Talk about Devil May Cry 5, which kind of pisses me off. We'll get into it. And then Bethesda really doing a really cool thing for one of their fans this week. The other thing I did not put on this list, and I really didn't want to bring it up, but there has been such a huge uproar this week. Well, actually in the last 24 hours about Rockstar in Red Dead Redemption 2. So they basically announced that this game is going to be so realistic, and we'll get into weekend release in a minute here. And then get into our regular stories. But I did want to bring up this story just because I thought it was so ludicrous. And we're not going to spend a ton of time on it, but it just made me laugh because they said that the game is so realistic. The physics in the game, they said that horses in the game, there's going to be like, so many variety of horses. But then they also said this, which was really funny because it's been kind of the talk of the internet lately, is that when it gets really cold, male horses, their testicles will shrink.
They'll shrink. That's just crazy. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I don't know. Like, look, I understand like physics and things like that, and it's really cool to bring that into a video game. But what Johnson was sitting around the desk and just thinking like, man, like we what if we just brought shrinking testicles in this game? I got to make it happen. I don't know how to make it happen. I have an idea how to make it happen. Let's just make it happen. And they're like, Johnson, you're a genius.
Yeah. Forget about dynamic horse pooping.
Right. Well, I mean,
right.
I mean, we talked about this shortly before we actually started recording here, is that in Metal Gear, wasn't it? Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
The last one, Phantom Pain, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the horses would poop. So they were so proud of their horses pooping. Now it's like Rockstar's like one-upping them, like, oh yeah, we'll show you our horses' testicles are going to shrink. It's just kind of ludicrous, to be honest with you. Like it makes me laugh because it's like, what's next? Like seriously, like exactly. I don't know. Like I saw like well GameStop is basically selling their pre-orders for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and the pre-order is a unicorn. And I'm like, what part of, like Greek mythology are we...
Is the unicorn. Yeah.
Right, is the unicorn. And it's like, I have no idea what people are doing anymore. It's like we have shrinking testicles and unicorns running around everywhere. So it makes me laugh sometimes of just kind of the direction. Like, I understand, like, obviously it's very, very cool that your physics can do that in a game. And trust me, like, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a day one buy for me. I'm super, super excited.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to undersell it whatsoever. But it's like, honestly, can we, like, focus on something different? Like, like the gun physics or the fighting physics or the character physics? No, let's talk about horse testicle physics.
I mean, they could have gone with, like, how with Sea of Thieves, the one thing that everybody had to say was, well, the game was kind of boring, but man, that was the best looking water I've ever seen.
I mean,
they could have had Red Dead Redemption could have been like, wow, the snow was so perfect. Like it with the physics with the snow when you're walking through it and blah, blah, blah. They could have done something like that. But no.
I think it's going to be funny because they're like, wow, like, just kind of, I feel like this is going to be the conversation, like, a week after the game comes out, and they're like, wow, the game was so humdrum, but man, the shrinking on those horses' testicles was just absolutely amazing. Just the detail in it, it's just unreal.
Yeah.
So I would laugh if actually that's going to be a review. So
That's just ridiculous.
I'll keep my eyes and ears open for that one. So it just makes me laugh sometimes. I'm sorry. I mean, it's like I said, I'm not trying to undersell the game. I'm not trying to basically say you're dumb or anything like that, but it makes me laugh when people do things like that. So, but let's talk about video games. Obviously, like we always do, let's talk about games you get your hands on this week. A lot of cool games coming out still. Obviously, we had Tomb Raider last week. I kind of feel bad for Tomb Raider because it wasn't a horrible Tomb Raider, but I think it got eaten alive by Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So,
I think so.
Just a horrible timing for that game. So I kind of feel bad. I mean, because it's not a bad game whatsoever. It got really decent reviews. But this is going to cover you from today, the 25th. Oh yeah, it's Tuesday, by the way. Reason it's Tuesday is because Mike got sick. I got a nasty sinus infection, and I could not record on Monday. So apologize to all our fans out there. But this is going to cover you from the 25th, which is today, all the way through the 30th. Cool. And then goodbye, September. Wow.
Yeah.
How we miss you already. Dear God. This year is over. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. As of today, you can get yourself Labyrinth of Refrain, Coven of Dusk, and that is on PC and PS4. There's also Valkyria Chronicles 4. I'm probably mispronouncing that. That's a Sega game. So,
it's old. Yeah.
It's really old. Yeah, but it's porting over to Nintendo Switch, PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. There's Ultimate Chicken Horse on Nintendo Switch. That just looks adorable on all levels. So go check that out. South Park, big. Obviously, this just makes me laugh because I just remember when they were talking about Fractured But Whole coming over to Switch, and then it did
gonna happen.
Right. I mean, it wasn't the fact that they were like it's never gonna happen. It was just the way that it was presented of just being like they were just being d-bags about it. Like honestly, their answer was like the most d-bag answer you could ever give. So, but they're bringing over the Stick of Truth on Nintendo Switch as of today. So if you really like the Fractured But Whole, Stick of Truth was just as good. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to think.
Liked it, yeah.
I'm trying to think which one I like better. Like honestly, I think both were fantastic. Yeah,
they were both good games, but I liked the classes better in the second one.
Yeah.
But I liked the story better in the first one. Like
Sure.
the story in the first one kept me more invested. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that one.
But they were both really well done. Though.
Yeah. Well, and, I mean, the difference between the first one and the second one is obviously in the Stick of Truth, you're playing like medieval characters, like it's wizards and knights and things like that. And obviously in the Fractured But Whole, you're playing superheroes. So
right.
Because of the franchise split, I'm not gonna ruin it. Whatever, I can ruin it by this time. Can I? I mean, the game's old enough. I can.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Jon Snow dies. There, I said it.
Yeah, he's gone.
Right. The next game, obviously coming out today, the Escapists. That is a fun game. That is on Nintendo Switch. It's been out before. PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, even Linux has had it before. But coming over to the Switch, really fun game. Really fun Prison Break game. In little 8-bit characters. It's adorable. Also, Punchline on PlayStation 4. That is a Vita game, so it's a Japan game. Sad news, too. I did not put this in the notes, but Japan is no longer supporting Vita whatsoever. So it is dead in Japan. No successor has obviously been named as of yet. Well, obviously, I don't know this year. I doubt it. I doubt we'll hear anything about any new systems this year. I'm guessing E3 next year is probably when we'll start hearing new PlayStation news. Probably PlayStation 5. I don't know if PlayStation's ever going to do another handheld though. Do you think they would?
I don't know. I think that everybody is looking at the success of the way the Switch did it.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say that I think if the design of the Vita had been thought better of when they made it,
sure,
and had all of the buttons, on the actual sides, had triggers and shoulder buttons and why the hell did they need that, like the touchpad on the back that just made things confusing?
Right.
I think that's what killed it, really, is like it didn't feel good all the time in your hand.
Right. Yeah.
But if you look at the way the Switch is when you're using it in handheld mode, that's what people love about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just, you can take your game anywhere.
Right.
And I think that they very well could pull something out of their rear ends. I mean, I honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that Xbox might be doing something like that. I don't know.
There's so many rumors about different companies doing different things. I mean, because there's obviously Xbox. Well, it's not even rumors. I mean, it's already been confirmed that Xbox is already working with Intel and they're working with NVIDIA on working on the next streaming service.
We know
console.
that they're also working on multiple consoles at the same time.
So
they've got like the mainline thing, whatever it is going to be, but then they have something else in the works that, like you said, sounds like a streaming device.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, Sony could come out swinging and be like, "Oh, look, we have this new hybrid. It's the PS5."
Sure.
Or whatever they call it,
right?
But it's also at the same time
like
you can do this, and it'll have like like a handheld that actually works in conjunction with it or something.
Sure.
So I don't know.
Well, and I don't know anymore, because the reason I say I don't know is because when Nintendo Switch came out, they went through so many dang lawsuits about their controllers and the docking and this, just a lot of stuff that they had to fight through to, even bring that into America. Right. And then there was a whole big fear that they were not going to be able to sell it in America. And like the people that were accusing them lost their lawsuit. But it's just very interesting, because I don't know who holds the patents for what, what technology is held by who. Because it's like, I feel like, in the world we live in today, it's very, very hard to be creative, because anything you say, anything you wear, anything you create, a lot of the times, like, it's already been created or it's already been patented by somebody else. So I have utmost respect for anybody that's a developer, anybody that's a musician, an actor, anything like that, because it is harder than hell to do something new or do something creative, because it's already been done before. So, and chances are, because we're in such a sue-happy world, that you will be sued if you do that thing. Right. So, yeah. But I wish them the best. Like I said, it'll be interesting. Like I said, I don't hold a lot of eggs in the basket of PlayStation experience this year. They've already, I mean, I've been reading stories already about how they're saying it's not going to be a huge thing this year either. So, I'd be surprised. I would really honestly be surprised. So, I think BlizzCon was going to have a lot of cool surprises this year, and I'm kind of really excited for that one. We have a story about that.
They pull something out of their rear end.
I'm thinking they will. I think this is going to be the year. Usually they do it every off year. So like last year wasn't a really big thing because they did, the announcement of obviously the Battle for Azeroth, and it was a World of Warcraft year. But then usually years that aren't a World of Warcraft year, they're pretty big with like new games and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll find out in November, and we'll bring you all the stories from it. But back to video games. As of today, you can also get yourself Hollow Knight. If you have not played that game, it is an amazing game. Hollow Knight is probably, it's just so beautiful, but it's finally coming over to Xbox One as of today. Think of the Children on Nintendo Switch. What is that game about? No idea. I guess any game I see on the Nintendo Switch usually is just going to be a good time, because a lot of the times it's whimsical. I like saying whimsical. That's my new word. I have a key list of words. Also, as of today, you can get yourself This is the Police 2 on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Towerfall, coming out the 27th. If you've not played Towerfall, fantastic game. I'm super excited to see it's coming over to Switch. If you've never played it before, that is going to be a killer platform to get that on. So definitely go check that one out. Also on the 27th, you can get yourself Whispering Willows on Nintendo Switch. I'm surprised that they're bringing this game over. It's an Adult Swim game. Did not do well on the Xbox whatsoever. Has a weird shooting mechanic. So I'm wondering if they maybe fixed it. But Rise and Shine. I'm not going to blast the game itself, because the game itself, beautiful game. It's an Adult Swim game. Beautiful game about this kid who picks up this gun and kind of has to go through this world. And my only problems with the game was the shooting mechanic was super weird, and it just really threw me off when I played it. So if you want to go check it out, though, it's coming out Switch, obviously 27th. X Order is coming out on Nintendo Switch on the 27th. Armello on the Switch. I can't pronounce this. Always Awakening on Nintendo Switch. Insomnia, The Ark on PC. And then Crazy Chicken Wanted on Nintendo Switch. Like I said, there's so many whimsical games. Life is Strange 2 coming over to PC finally. Worms WMD. I've played that game before on like Xbox and PS4 and things like that. Finally coming over to Switch. OOO Ascension. I think I'm just going to call that game Ascension. I don't think the O's are necessary. But that's coming over to PC. Wonder Song on Nintendo Switch. That's it for the 27th. The 28th, you can get yourself Jake Hunter Detective Story on Nintendo 3DS. Castronauts on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Dragon Ball Z Fighters with a Z. That has been the breakout successor on PS4 and Xbox One. Everybody loves that game. Finally coming over to the Switch on the 28th. You can get yourself Demon's Crystals on the 28th on the Switch. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm guessing this is the next DLC. I have no idea. I've not heard anything. So,
I don't know.
I'll check it out, apparently. But it does have it scheduled for the 28th here, so I'm wondering if that's the next one. And then I'm guessing another update to Super Mario Odyssey, because that's on my list. Another update to Splatoon 2 is on my list. I don't know if this is the online play. So if it's the online play, don't kill me, because Nintendo Switch Online obviously came out last week. They're moving a lot of games online. I know a lot of games are getting updates, so these could be the updates. So just check out your Switch if you have a Switch. Jack and Jill DX coming over to Nintendo Switch. And then Forza Horizon 4, finally coming out. Xbox One, Xbox, hey, you got one. All right. FIFA 19 coming over to Nintendo Switch. That's it for the 28th. And then on the 30th, you can get yourself Monster Loves You on Nintendo Switch. Sinner Sacrifice of Redemption on the PC. And apparently, this is the thing. This game was supposed to be out in September. There's no release date. I have no idea. I've not heard anything. But Crackdown 3 was supposed to be out this month. Where is Crackdown 3?
Yeah.
Please tell me.
I thought they moved it to next year.
That was last year. I thought it was supposed to be this year in September. So
I don't think it's ever coming out.
I don't think it's ever coming out. Honestly, it would not surprise me if that game gets canceled.
Yeah.
And, I mean, everything that I saw at E3 too, I was like, okay, this game would have been cool 2 years ago. But that's all I have to say about that. Yeah, I don't know what you're doing anymore, Xbox. You have a billion different opportunities to be awesome, and you don't. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Xbox. All right. Sorry. All right. But let's talk about, obviously, the week of the, news of the week. A lot of cool stories. A lot of cool things happening. A lot of good being done. And then a lot of bad being done. We'll start off with the good. And we can take some time on this, because I actually wanted to speculate what games you'd like to see on this. But PlayStation, Sony, not to be outdone for what Nintendo's doing with their classic systems, is now coming out this holiday. I don't remember what they said. I think it's December. But they're coming up with the PlayStation Classic, which will come with 20 preloaded games, including Final Fantasy VII, Jumping Flash, Ridge Racer, Type 4, Tekken 3, and Wild Arms. Those are just some of the games that they've named. I'm really hoping, and I don't see how they would be able to do this system without the game that made them famous. I would really hope they put Twisted Metal on this.
Yeah, well, I mean, who knows what they're really going to do?
Right.
I don't know. So it's such a hush-hush thing. You would think that they would announce
the whole game
these
list.
are the games. Like, this is what's gonna make you want this.
Yeah. I don't know. The only thing that I really know about this right now is good luck getting one. That's all I gotta say. Because everybody that put up pre-orders already sold out. So Best Buy's already... Oh, yeah. Best Buy's gone. I think you can still try Amazon or GameStop or Target. But I know Best Buy's gone. I know Walmart's gone. I think Amazon sold out as well. I actually had to go to Target to pre-order mine. So if you did not pre-order, you're going to have to go get your butt in line early in the morning and try to get one. These things are going to go quick. A lot of people love nostalgia. And yeah, I've actually been following this thing for the last couple of days. All the pre-orders have been selling out left and right. So I think, yeah, like I said, I think you can still try Target and you can try GameStop, but I'm pretty sure they're either low or they're already sold out. So sorry, kids. No. But they've said that obviously it's 45% smaller than the original. It includes 2 wired controllers. So actually this time they're going to give you 2 controllers, which is nice. Which the Super Nintendo did too, but whatever. It's going to have a virtual memory card and an HDMI cable. The only thing it's not coming with, though, is a power source. But they said that it will work with your phone plug-in, so the small USB. I don't think it's USB-C or whatever the new one is, but I think it's just the smaller USB mini is how it'd be powered. I'm excited though. Like I said, I really hope they put. I'm ecstatic that they're putting Final Fantasy VII on there. Obviously, because that was my jam. That was my jam. Like honestly, that was the best. I would say Final Fantasy game that did come out on PlayStation, because everything else was kind of earlier generation or later generation. But I think like that was the Final Fantasy that kind of defined what the PlayStation could do at that time. And then I loved, I cannot praise it enough, but I love Twisted Metal. Like I think that was just the best multiplayer game on PlayStation, for its time. So, yeah. But there's a ton of games out there. I mean, what would you like to see?
Well, I would say, Symphony of the Night.
Sure. Castlevania.
That one definitely, that one would definitely be one for me. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people, like me and you both, will swear by Final Fantasy VII, but I think a lot of people would, they desperately want Final Fantasy VIII.
Sure. Was 8 actually, was 8 on PlayStation or I thought that was PlayStation 2.
No.
8 was actually.
All the way up to 9.
9 was actually on the original.
All like all 7, 8, and 9 were all on PlayStation 1.
Gotcha.
And then it was not until PlayStation 2 that I think that's when Final Fantasy X came out.
I gotcha. Well, because I remember, was it Final Fantasy Chronicles or whatever it was? That was on PlayStation as well.
The Crystal Chronicles.
Crystal Chronicles.
So there's a lot of things I would love, but again, it's all about licensing. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, I would love.
Yeah, that's another one.
I mean, the first one was good, but the second one nailed it. And that was the best. But I think the problem with those games would be the music licensing at this point.
Well, I don't know. Maybe because it was owned by NerbSoft at the time. I don't know. I mean, NerbSoft obviously dissolved, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they would do it, but it's one of those things like I wish it could be, but that's a kind of one of those like cold day in hell maybe. Kind of hold one hand up and wish in one and then hold the other one up. Yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't, like I said, I have no idea. Just there's a ton of great games out there. I remember even, what was it, ESPN X Games? Like that was the first game I can honestly remember where they put like, well, not the first game ever, but they really did it well with like extreme sports and like announcing and things like that. They had that game down to a T, and I think that was actually the game that made me fall in love with like street luging, because that was the first game I've ever actually seen it in. So they had street luging, and then they had like skateboarding and stuff like that. But I remember street luging. That was the first time I've ever actually seen that sport. Was actually through that video game.
Was it?
Yeah. So I had no idea what it was, and I'm like, man, this is insane. Like going 90 miles per hour on a street. So and there's cars coming. So. It was pretty cool though. I liked it a lot. But the system's it's gonna run you $100. I mean, it's $99.99. But I mean, for the price, man, getting 2 controllers out of it, and obviously, I mean, the Nintendo systems are getting up there as well. There's we brought you this story previously that there's even rumor that N64 Classic is right around the corner. It wouldn't surprise me to see that system priced at $100 either. So. I think once you go into older generations of the systems, I think it was a little harder for them to make those games and things like that. So it doesn't surprise me that they're increasing the prices. So, but yeah, it'll run you 100 bones. Like I said, check your local listings, because I don't know if anybody has them anymore. That's the problem. I don't know if you can pre-order them. They went really, really quick. So it's just one of those things. People love nostalgia, and people love PlayStation, and I saw it coming. So
yeah,
sorry, kids. You gotta do your research. I can't do it all for you. So.
I think my only issue is a lot of those games, as great as they are, and as much as we love them, we are the group of people that we see those games through rose-tinted glasses. But when you go back and play a lot of them now, they really don't look that nice. So
I do agree with you to an extent, but I think these games are honestly for us though. Because we still look at those games with rose-tinted glasses,
right?
Yeah, because I mean, I can honestly, like myself, like I go to barcades where they have vintage games, and I'm in Cloud 9 because that's the stuff I grew up in. So, and I mean that's why a lot of the times you see older generations and newer generations that come in are like, oh, this place is kind of dumb. And, you know, they'll have a few drinks and leave. But it's like, I could stay all night at a barcade because it's like, I love retro stuff. And, I mean, I know what you're talking about, too. Because, like, I mean, I used this example previously. Like, I tried to play Max Payne again. Couldn't do it. Just because it just
doesn't hold up.
Hold up. Yeah, it just really didn't hold up. But I think like games like Tekken are timeless. I mean, any fighting game. I mean, even like if they put Virtual Fighter on there, and I know I'm going really old school on there, I think it would still hold up though. Like, because I can still play Final Fantasy VII. Like, I remember when they did, it wasn't the remaster, but it was when they tweaked it and they let you skip boss fights and they let you, you know, basically go a lot quicker on the PlayStation 4 when they put that on there.
I think making it giving you the option to also like slow down how many of those stupid, like every 5 feet you were in a random battle, and it was like you could never. That drove me nuts when I tried to go back and play it. Yeah, but you know, I mean, back in the day, you would do that, and you did it on purpose because you're like, oh well, I want that.
Right, I'll level up quicker.
I'll level up. But now I'm like, oh my god, don't anymore. Right. No.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you're right. I mean, that was kind of. I mean, a lot of the times, I mean, that was what the I would say the most annoying thing about the game is you couldn't take 5 steps encountering a new enemy. So and you were just. I remember because a lot of the times I'd be praying because I'd be like low on health and low on mana and things like that, and I'm like, for the love of God, just leave me alone. Like I'm like I don't want to die. I'm not at a save point, and I just beat a huge boss. So. Fun. But yeah, like I said, it'll be interesting to see the list of games that they put on that one. I'm not, I mean, I would, like I said, there's a ton of games out there that I think would be excellent games out there. Man, I'm just trying to, let's look them up. Let's just look up best PlayStation games, because there's a lot of them. I want to spend some more time on this because it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what games actually end up on this. All right, so what we got? Best PlayStation games. Best PlayStation 1 games. Because now we're in 4s. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8. Ooh, Resident Evil 2. That was another one. Metal Gear Solid. Parappa the Rapper. I would not be surprised if that game ends up on there. Crash Bandicoot, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. That was the game I was thinking of. Chrono Cross. That would be another fantastic one.
Yep.
Oddworld, Silent Hill.
The Silent Hill games are amazing,
right?
And everybody loves them.
Yep. Tomb Raider. Wipeout. Yeah, Wipeout was another one. That was where they first introduced Wipeout. So it would just be interesting to see actually what games are gonna end up on this thing. We'll see. That's all I can say. There's a lot of great games though. So a lot of great games. I own like half of these games that are on this list. That's pretty amazing. Oh, Spyro. Tekken. Gran Turismo. Just a ton.
Loved.
Yeah.
I loved Gran Turismo, but you already said one of my favorite games used to be the Abe's Odyssey, like all of the Oddworld games. I loved that stuff.
Oh yeah, no, they were fantastic. I still love that game. I was kind of happy when they tried to reboot it. It just didn't do as well as I thought it would do.
Well, when they did a remaster, or it was really a remaster, but they kind of changed it a little and tweaked the engine, which was nice. But yeah, I loved that. I even loved the Stranger's Wrath, like the one where you were like the camel guy.
Yeah.
And it was did you ever play that one? It was the first person shooter one.
I don't remember that one, but I do. No, I don't remember that one. I do remember, what was it? The haunted game. What was it? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank here.
They had Abe's Odyssey, Abe's Exodus, and then Munch's Odyssey.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
And then, like I said, and then Stranger's Wrath.
Yeah.
If you haven't played Stranger's Wrath, look it up.
Right.
Because it is a really cool game, and you're like this camel guy who's got a heart problem, and it's a first-person shooter, but all of your ammo is alive.
Right.
So
wasn't Soul Reaver on there too? I'm trying to remember.
Yes. All the Soul Reaver
games.
The whole. What was there? 2 Soul Reavers, and then there was the Legacy of Kain games as well.
So that would be kind of cool if they put one of those on there.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That they could do, but who knows?
Who knows?
They will or won't.
Well, it's Sony. They're stuck in the left lane with their lack of multiplayer crossplay. So they're like, we'll show you, Nintendo. We'll make our own mini system. Bleh.
Yeah.
So, and they did. Moving on though. So I did want to ask you a question. What's better than, a Death Stranding demo, Will, that you could get your hands on at the Tokyo Game Show? How about another cryptic trailer? Oh man, seriously. So this week we saw another cryptic trailer from Death Stranding with the introduction of a boss fight with a man wearing a magical golden skull mask. Ooh. Voiced by another famous person. Don't care. I really just don't care. I'm sorry.
On a scale from 1 to I don't care.
I love you. Look, I love you, Kojima. Like you make some of the most beautiful video games out there. You really, your team is doing amazing things. I just don't care. You have oversaturated the trailer of this game. If it's not a playable demo, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't want to know about it.
Yeah. I honestly...
what's weird to me is a couple years ago when they first announced it, right?
Yeah.
They said basically if you pay attention that the game was coming out before 2019. So that would have meant it was going to come out this year.
Sure.
Definitely, obviously, is not doing that. But they did that's what they initially said because of like the way his comment was that it was going to come out like the year before, I forget what it was, but the year before something in one of the games originally happened.
Right.
And so that would have been next year, and they were like, oh, well, the year before that is 2018.
Well,
so that means it's coming out in 2018. And then
but I mean, Tokyo Game Show is this week, and obviously we'll have more stories next week about what happened at Tokyo Game Show because we'll be watching on Twitch and all around the world. But I would lose my damn mind if they, Kojima got up there and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, the game's available now. Like, like they, like he did it like EA style, like where EA just, releases a game just randomly, just at a conference day. So he's like, oh yeah, by the way, that would make me laugh. But I honestly, I know games take time to develop and things like that. But honestly, I just feel like it's like every conference that we have, every gaming conference, he's there and he has a new demo and it just confuses you more and more and more. So that's why I'm just saying, I really just don't care anymore. So nothing against the man, nothing against the company, nothing against the game. It's just enough is enough. Either show me a playable demo, give me a beta release date, or just go work on your game. That's all I got to say. So we should have him on the show sometime.
Yeah. Why not?
I'm sure we. I'm sure we.
Get him. We can get.
I'm sure we have that poll.
what's his name? Norman Reedus. You know, why not?
Sure. I'm sure Norman. I think Norman Reedus would probably be easier to get on the show than Kojima. Probably.
I feel like Kojima's like a rock star.
Pretty much. Yeah. Well, like he's like the god of gaming. So.
Right.
Yeah. It's like talking to God, and it's probably just not going to happen. So. But the other story I want to bring up in the more happier news is CD Projekt Red is pulling no punches when it comes to detail in Cyberpunk 2077. It was announced this week that there's going to be a lot of choices in this new game, but your choices will come with consequences, which is actually, it sounds amazing. It really does. Yeah. So basically, players can choose to surgically install implants throughout their bodies in the game, but the consequences over time will present themselves mechanically. So actually, this was in issue 324 of Edge magazine this week, for all those kids that still read. Haha, yours truly. But CD Projekt Red spoke at length about how cybernetic implants will impact your playthrough in the obviously new game Cyberpunk 2077. The bonuses at first may be relevant and enticing, but players who convert the characters into androids may see determinants in gameplay mechanics. The benefits of implants can also be offset by cyber psychosis, which ruins V's mental health. All the travails of the flesh fade away, and you become basically a perfect machine of chrome, said Patrick Mills of CD Projekt Red, quest designer of the Cyberpunk 2077. So, but he said, but if you had to buy these body parts from someone and you're in debt to them, if you need parts, you've got to go to the store, and you have to, he said, you have this very utopian idea of being liberated by technology, and it's like not so fast. You haven't solved the problems. The problems are still there. The technology makes them worse. Even in the traditional cyberpunk, the William Gibson, the neuromancer, the consequences of cybernetic conversion are illustrated as harsh and long-term. It's no surprise that Mike Pondsmith maintained the reality in the pen and paper RPG. But in time, we shall see the video game format, assuming basically our favorite Polish developer can still pull it off. It kind of sounds like Witcher 3. Because a lot of the times, like in Witcher 3, like per whatever decision you made, like there was consequences that you had to face. Like a lot of the times, like if you saved a person, somebody else would hate you. If you killed somebody like this, like somebody would kill themselves. Like I remember very early in Witcher 3, like I remember the king's wife. Well, he was like like a duke. He was a duke, and like his wife got captured by a bunch of witches. If you killed his wife, like, and you went back and told him the truth, like he killed himself. So, and then like he had parts of quests like you needed later on, and it affected you. And same thing with like your story with Ciri, story, with the, love interest you kept in the game. Everything had a consequence. And I love that about CD Projekt Red. I love being able to choose that and having, totally consequences for my actions. So
well, not only that, but also the mutations and stuff. If you did too many mutations, you had a toxicity level that, hurt you. If you had to balance things out, and you had to use, there was a certain potion that would clear out your toxicity level. Right. But, so you had to be careful with how you mixed your stuff. Yeah. Some people probably played without even bothering to use potions and all that stuff, but they definitely helped, especially in certain circumstances.
And bigger fights,
for certain bosses. Yeah, you needed those kinds of things, but obviously me, and I can't not sing praises for that game. But I think that this game is going to be on another level, right? Because of the amount of detail and the amount of care they put into these things.
Well, just look. This is a small part of the game. And it just, sound how in depth and in thought they've really thought this out. Like, yeah, you can have these cybernetic implants and it'll help you during the game, but it's like later on, there's going to be consequences for actually using them. Yeah. So
exactly,
it's amazing.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
I'm very excited.
I really hope that game comes out soon. I cannot wait. So,
agree.
We'll see. Other exciting news though, and this is a story that cannot be confirmed, but this was a tweet that came from publishing company Boom Comics. I don't know if you guys ever read their stuff, but apparently, and I read another article that said actually Blizzard is in talks with Netflix, so I'm guessing this is going to be announced soon, but Diablo may be becoming an animated series going to Netflix. Amazing if that's true.
I mean, that's cool. But
I don't know. Here's what I really hope though. Like I hope they like it's super animated, like a cartoon. Like I just imagine like, Diablo wisecracking jokes. And Decker, always trying to foil his plans. So
not all, not like how Castlevania was.
No. Like, I have a feeling it's gonna be a cartoon like Castlevania. Like it's gonna be an anime. Yeah. Like they're gonna turn it serious, like into an anime, which I'm not opposed by. I would just think it would be funny if it was like cartoon like Family Guy or South Park. Like that would just, I would squeal with delight.
You make it all super goofy cartoon.
Right. Like just, I mean, you make it like, adult cartoon, with adult jokes and stuff like that, like South Park and Family Guy and stuff like that. But I would just love it,
Every time you walk by Deckard Cain, he's like, stay a while and listen. And you're like, come on, man. Yeah. No, leave me alone. And he's like, oh, come on. Just for a minute. Just come on.
Uncle Deckard, shut the fuck up. Yeah. I would just, that's what, I would just love it. Yeah. I just think it would bring me joy if it was like that. I know it's not going to be, but it would just bring me joy. So
it would be hilarious.
It would be. I would actually really like that. But before we cover our last story today, I did want to, actually we have two more stories, but I did want to say a heartfelt goodbye to a really cool company that did some really cool things with video games. But Telltale, makers of The Walking Dead and Back to the Future and Game of Thrones, they did Guardians of the Galaxy. There was talks of them doing other stuff as well. They're closing up shop. So, yeah, they're gone. There was they said they're keeping a small team of 25 employees, basically to fulfill the company's obligations to its board and partners. But everything that I've been reading says that they're done. Yeah. So I don't know.
They're done. They didn't give anybody severance. They didn't do anything. Yeah. They just left everybody kind of like, hey, by the way, get out. We're done.
They took them. Well, I did hear that they did take them out for pizza and bowling, though.
Yeah, I mean that's how you do it. That's right. That's the way that things are done these days.
Right. You go out for pizza and bowling, and by the way, you're fired. Yeah.
You're fired. Yeah.
Right.
So they're like some employees have actually started a class action lawsuit against them for the way that the pay was, like the way that the severance and the termination was handled. And a lot of industry people are actually kind of mad because they put out a statement saying that they wanted to that they were one way or the other going to try to put out the last two episodes of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But people are saying, well, you're going to go ahead and put out these two episodes and make money off of it, but
you can't
all these people who all your employees you just laid off and you didn't even give them their money.
Right.
What are you doing? So, I mean, it's bittersweet. I mean, they made some great games, but at the same time, it seems like they had some bad practices. So,
I mean, the tweet, this is what the tweet said. It just said, it says, today, Telltale Games made the difficult decision to begin a majority studio closure following a year marked by insurmountable challenges. It says most of the company's employees were dismissed earlier this morning, with a small group of 25 employees staying to fulfill company's obligations to its board and partners. So I don't know what they mean by insurmountable challenges. Maybe just a dumbass run this place and now we're shutting down. That happens a lot, unfortunately. Not everybody that's in the video game industry is smart. There's a lot of corruption and a lot of bad things that do happen in the video game industry. We don't really get to see behind the curtain a lot, but then when we do see behind the curtain, we're like, wow, that's just messed up. So it's a hard industry, man, and I wish, obviously, everybody that was on the development team, I wish them good luck in other ventures. I'm sure it's not going to be hard with your skills and things that you've done over the years.
A lot of companies have reached out to all the people that were part of the
been
team
left off.
That were let go. A lot of other big studios have said, "Hey,
come work for us.
We'll grab you guys if you're interested. We'll totally help you."
And that's cool.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, and it's just kind of disheartening because they did make a lot of great games. Obviously, there was some misses, Back to the Future and things like that. Guardians of the Galaxy was a miss, but I want to say good things about other games. Like honestly, the only game that I can think of that was like a monumental success was The Walking Dead. All the other games really kind of sucked.
They had a infographic that someone posted that showed their sales and their volumes. And so before The Walking Dead, I guess they put out the what do you call it, Back to the Future,
right?
And I think one other game, but I forget which one it was.
I remember.
But the Walking Dead's sales were like skyrocketed them,
right?
And then after that, they dropped so significantly that it's amazing that they stayed around as long as they did,
right?
Because all their other games were not making them any money.
Yeah, and
so it's unfortunate, but
it is unfortunate. But honestly, like when you think about the business model that they carried, which was make your own adventure. Those were the games they put out. It was basically a make your own adventure book. Like I know you remember. I know our younger audience doesn't, but
oh come on,
there used to be these books called Make Your Own Adventure, and there used to be choices. They basically say like, if you want to go down the pathway, turn to page 3. If you want to, just stay where you are, turn to page 9. And each page that you turned to had a different consequence.
In my house right now,
right.
I have a choose your own adventure book. I still have one.
I have at least 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, so, I have the you making your own robot.
Right.
I have one about green slime. I like some great ones. Yeah.
But obviously we're getting off track a little bit. But that was my point. Is like those games. That was the game. Like it was a choose your own adventure game. It's like you would choose to do this. This was the consequence of this. And you would push the story forward. So it was, the Walking Dead one was amazing. It was really cool, but yeah, like the other ones just, I'll be honest, they speak for themselves. So, but let's move on. Obviously we only have a couple more minutes here and we have to get out of here, but, I did want to give a special shout out to Bethesda for doing good. Nintendo actually did this as well, but, they helped terminally ill kids, who had cancer play the games that they didn't think they were going to make to see. Especially right. Bethesda did this with a 12-year-old. He was super upset. He found out that he had terminal cancer and the doctors basically told him there's nothing more we can do. Super heartbroken because I don't know if this would be the first words out of my mouth if I found out I had cancer, but this was he's a 12-year-old kid. But he pre-ordered the Power Armor edition for Fallout 76. And the doctors pretty much gave him a death sentence. And he was heartbroken that he wasn't going to be able to see this game. Bethesda, being the super cool company that they are, gave him the Power Armor edition. So he got to play it. So very, very cool.
So he got a prototype of the helmet and he got they said that he couldn't have the game because it's not out yet.
Right.
But they let him have it for an entire day.
Yeah.
And he got to play the build that they currently have, which at this point, being that it comes out in just over a month and a half, it has to be.
It has to be pretty finished.
It has to be close to being gold.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the world was really fun to run around in, and that was really awesome of them.
Yeah.
I wish that anytime somebody had something like this and their favorite thing was attainable, that the company that owned that thing should, it's great PR. It's great. It's just great human nature.
It's just nice to see a company being a human instead of caring about profit. Instead of caring about profit margins and things like that. It's just nice to see sometimes people care. And Nintendo did the same thing for a kid too, because there was a kid that was dying of cancer. And they told him, we're stopping treatment. He got to play Smash Brothers. He got to play the E3 demo of Smash Brothers. So,
Yep.
Fantastic.
Very exciting.
It was really, I mean, it's just really nice to see that
cool.
companies like that actually still care about their fans and care about, people together. But in our last 2 minutes of the game, let's talk about a company that doesn't care because they're doing the same bullcrap again. It was announced this week that Devil May Cry 5 will include microtransactions. That's our favorite word around here, microtransactions. But they're basically going to allow players to pay real money to earn red orbs, an in-game currency which can be used for various things, among other, upgrading the player character. So pay to win.
Yeah, that straight up pay to win.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So in an interview with Hideki Itsuno, game director of Devil May Cry 5, GameSpot got a direct statement regarding the inclusion of microtransactions. The discussion arose after GameSpot noticed that the option to purchase red orbs in a game shop during a demo done by Capcom. Itsuno was not coy about clarifying the option for accelerated progression option, stating that the decision should be up to the player. Duh. But God knows how well this has turned out for other games.
Yeah, anybody else, yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think this is where the gray area in video games is right now. Because I don't think Devil May Cry 5 is going to be multiplayer. I think it's just a straight up single player game. But this is kind of the gray area because he's 100% correct. I mean, it's up to the player. You can either enjoy the game, have fun, grind through all the levels, or if you don't have the time, you can pay to do it.
Right.
I'm not okay with obviously pay to win, but I like I said, it's such a gray area because I think this honestly is a single player game. So you be the judge. I don't know. We don't have much time to talk about it. We got to get out of here. But we do thank you for listening. Obviously, make sure you go to our website, www.noobsandpros.com. Thank you for sticking around Thursday nights. Please support the Podcast Radio Network. And thank you to our friends, Player One Coffee. Go to playeronecoffee.com, type in code DADSThatGame at checkout for 5% off the first time order that you place with them. But we got to get out of here, Will. We're an hour, everybody. Yeah, that went quick. Oh, it's fun.
It did.
All right. Well, we love you. We'll talk to you next week, and stay safe out there. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Dad's That Game radio podcast. Email us your questions and hate mail to dadsthatgamepodcast@gmail.com.